Superman 3, his greatest challenge. An evil tycoon and a no-good scheming bum.
Don't call me a bum.
Create the ultimate machine.
A fellow that can fool the computer can rule the world himself.
And destroy Superman as we know him. Can he survive? Find out Christmas Sunday, 3:15 on BBC One. BBC One this Christmas, the best value anywhere for ski gear.
All this equipment here is manufactured by the one country that leads the world in alpine clothing, namely Fiji.
All heart is Derek.
Couple of bob for charity.
He's trying to save Wales.
Not after the way they beat us at rugby last year.
Christmas Day is Only Fools and Horses in 10 minutes on BBC One.
Over on BBC2 in 5 minutes, the Northern Ballet perform a new production of Dickens' classic, A Christmas Carol. Here on BBC One now, the news with John Humphreys.
The Queen says significant progress has been made towards bringing peace to Northern Ireland. In her Christmas message, she's spoken of the light of hope in the dark streets. Another Home Alone case, a 2-year-old boy left by himself in a locked bedroom. Good evening. In her Christmas message, the Queen has spoken about the significant progress that's been made in the past year in solving some of the world's most difficult problems, including Northern Ireland. She talked about the light of hope, breaking after years of fear and darkness. The Prime Minister of the Irish Republic, Albert Reynolds, has said the peace process must not get bogged down in premature talk about what happens once the terrorism stops. Mr. Reynolds was writing for the Sunday Life newspaper to be published in Belfast tomorrow. The Queen's message had been recorded earlier this week at Sandringham in Norfolk, where today most of the royal family attended the traditional Christmas service.
Back at Sandringham, just for 24 hours, the Princess of Wales joined the family group attending church. After her much-proclaimed retreat from public life, her priority now is to be with her sons as much as possible. Last year, with her separation from Prince Charles so recent, she spent Christmas away from them and the rest of the royal family. This year, she was determined that it should be different. And so the Queen found that she had almost all her family around her, including this year's newcomer, Viscountess Linley. There was no sign of Prince Edward's new girlfriend, Sophie Rhys-Jones, although it's thought she may be invited to stay over the new year. For the second year running, the Queen's message was recorded at Sandringham, this time in the library. In it, she reflects on the speed of modern communications and the importance of not shielding ourselves from the truth, however unwelcome, even though it can make us yearn for some good news. There has, she says, been significant progress towards solving some of the world's most difficult problems, such as the Middle East and South Africa. But she singled out the efforts towards a settlement in Northern Ireland for particular mention.
In Northern Ireland especially, these last years, fear has made the streets dark indeed. Now we have seen that the light of hope can brighten them. May 1994 bring to those brave people who live there and go about their lawful lives undaunted the reward they deserve, peace.
It was a message of hope that, in her words, the world could be made a more humane and happier place if people worked together. For Christmas, her family did its best to heal the rifts of the past, but after the church service, the Princess of Wales left Sandringham to spend the rest of the day with her own relatives and friends. Jenny Bond, BBC News.
Another case of a child being left at home on his own has come to light. It happened in Brighton on Thursday. Police say a 30-year-old man has been charged with cruelty. In Leeds yesterday, a father was charged with leaving 3 children alone over the holiday.
Brighton police say the 2-year-old was left by his father in a cold, damp room in a flat in Chatham Place. He was wearing just a T-shirt and his bedroom door had been tied shut. Police were called when the boy's grandparents could get no answer at the flat. The boy was examined in hospital, then placed with foster parents. The father has been charged with cruelty. The NSPCC encounter increasing numbers of such cases.
There's a greater level of public awareness
and that has been brought about by recent publicity. The NSPCC have issued a leaflet giving advice on these matters, and we're receiving about 100 cases a month now from concerned adults.
At a Leeds police station, presents have been piling up for 3 children left alone at home this week. The same has happened in Sheffield, where 4 youngsters are with foster parents after being left. Laurie Margolis, BBC News.
The Archbishop of Canterbury, Dr. George Carey, has accused some parents of failing to teach their children spiritual values. In his Christmas Day sermon at Canterbury Cathedral, Dr. Carey said many youngsters were ignorant of basic Christian stories, leaving them rootless and impoverished. He said nobody could abdicate responsibility for what was happening in society. The Pope, in his Christmas Day message, talked about the progress that's been made towards peace in the Middle East, but regretted that wars raged elsewhere. He spoke of his sadness at what he called the inhuman logic of inter-ethnic conflicts in Bosnia and Somalia. The Christmas ceasefire in Bosnia is still being ignored by all 3 sides. Sarajevo has been under scattered artillery fire from Serb positions, and Muslim forces near the British base at Vitez in central Bosnia have kept up their offensive. They're attacking from north and south around the village of Dubrovica, trying to cut a Croatian area in half.
No Christmas in Kršančevo. The village was Croat. Now they're defending it house by house. They were taken by surprise. The Croats are losing. Civilians have fled. Shells landed first. The attackers followed. Only 20 yards away here, they're troops from the 3rd Corps Bosnian Muslim Army. A year ago, the Croats were up against a ragtag militia. Not anymore. Now they believe they're strong enough to reject peace plans and fight for more territory. The Croats worshipped in a nearby church, which the war has turned into a hospital. The latest patients are from the battle for Kršančevo. The Croat commander was there. The priest remembered the dead and the missing from the villages in the valley. A nativity scene with manger and aid trucks. An appeal for help from a besieged community. Humphrey Hawksley, BBC News, Vitez.
There's been snow in many parts of Britain, which has delighted some people, but not the bookmakers. Snow fell in most of the 13 cities where bets had been taken that it wouldn't happen. One bookie said they'd lost at least £80,000, but many other people have had a very wet Christmas rather than a white one.
Those dreaming of a white Christmas only had to open the front door this morning. Up to 11 centimetres of snow settled in parts of Scotland, and further south in Sheffield, there was enough for children to perfect their traditional winter skills. In Northern Ireland, it snowed for the first time on Christmas Day for almost 30 years. But it wasn't all festive cheer.
Well, by dint of the fact that most of the country has enjoyed a white Christmas, the bookmakers have been suffering a black Christmas.
But the winter weather brought misery for hundreds of families living along the banks of the River Severn. More than a foot of water flooded into homes and offices in Bewdley in Hereford and Worcester. But it was a drop in the ocean compared to the devastating floods that have hit many low-lying areas of Europe. 12,000 people had to be evacuated from the province of Limburg, prompting the Dutch government to declare a national disaster. Juliet Bremner, BBC News.
Alistair Christmas from Bishop Briggs near Glasgow was celebrating today. He really did become a Father Christmas when his wife Sally Ann gave birth to a baby boy. Both mother and baby, he's being called Stephen, are said to be doing fine at Southern General Hospital. Stephen has already been given his first Christmas presents by the staff at the hospital. And that's the BBC News for now. We'll be back at 9. In the meantime, enjoy the rest of the Christmas.
Good evening. I hope you've had a lovely Christmas day, and as we've already seen, some places have had a white Christmas, namely Salisbury and Exeter, Manchester and Liverpool, and also Aberdeen and Dundee. But we're still waiting to see whether London's going to have a white Christmas. A few hours left yet. In fact, we've had some showers running down the east coast already during this afternoon, and 1 or 2 of those may get into the London area later on. Also some showers through Wales and parts of the southwest. Those continuing for a while this evening, but during tonight we'll see it becoming dry in the west and also over many other areas of the United Kingdom, but still some wintry showers running down through the eastern side of the country. Elsewhere then, dry and cold and relatively clear, and it's also going to be very frosty tonight. Temperatures as low as -2 to -6 degrees, and we're going to see icy stretches on many roads come tomorrow morning. Tomorrow we'll have an area of high pressure dominating the weather over much of the country, but this area of low pressure to the east, still very close to the east coast, will keep those wintry showers coming into many eastern parts of Scotland and eastern England. Probably the coastal fringes, though, is where we'll see the showers. Elsewhere will be dry and bright with some sunshine, but a misty start for southern and central Scotland, that disappearing in the afternoon, but a very cold day everywhere. And that's it.
Christmas in the Algarve, being shadowed by a furtive Peter Cook and relaxing in luxury accommodation. What more could Victor ask for?
I'm hardly likely to take £3.47 for an aftershave that makes me smell like a donkey, am I?
1 foot in the Algarve, 9:05 Christmas Sunday on BBC1.
I really want to spend Christmas with you. Happy Christmas.
EastEnders tonight at 7:30 on BBC1.
As much a part of Christmas as the turkey and the tinsel, now on BBC1, the boys are back.